People on platforms like YouTube talk about being in relationships with covert narcissists and they complain about the punishments that they endure. And while coverts do tend to be punitive, it is possible that they might be dealing with a mixture of subtypes, especially covert narcissism combined with other traits such as malignant narcissism or even borderline traits. But today I want to talk about the covert malignant narcissist because these mixtures can make the situation more complex and harder to deal with. And they can become dangerous, so keep listening. There's a lot of information out there about the covert narcissist or the vulnerable narcissist, which is the same, just a different name. Some professionals refer to this type of narcissism as vulnerable narcissism due to the underlying sense of fragility and insecurity that usually accompanies these individuals. While vulnerable does describe their emotional state, it doesn't necessarily capture the hidden or the covert nature of how their narcissism manifests. They hide their true narcissistic traits behind a facade of humility, shyness, or sensitivity, while they still feel entitled. Instead of directly asserting themselves, covert narcissists will use passive-aggressive tactics. They might not outwardly seek attention or control, but they will undermine others in subtle ways that leave people feeling confused or frustrated. And as though that isn't enough for a person to deal with, it gets even rougher when the covert holds a subtype within, such as the malignant subtype. So to begin, we'll first talk a bit about the covert because there are always new victims out there just discovering narcissism. And so we'll go over that and then describe the malignant narcissist and then combine them together so that you can see what you're looking at here and perhaps make another decision. A covert narcissist is someone who exhibits narcissistic traits, but in more subtle and less overt ways. Unlike the grandiose or the classic narcissist who will openly display arrogance, entitlement, and a need for admiration, covert narcissists are often more introverted and they'll present themselves as sensitive, shy, or insecure. They often appear quiet and innocent, which makes it surreal for the flying monkeys to believe what the partner is experiencing. They have this exaggerated sense of self-importance, but they'll disguise it by playing the victim or seeking validation in indirect ways. They'll be more passive-aggressive and then engage in self-pity or guilt-tripping others to gain attention or manipulate situations to their advantage. And then people tend to feel responsible for them. A partner might feel that if they can show them enough love and kind gestures that they'll love them out of their pain. But the narcissist is literally enjoying this game as they gain more power, aka supply. They are manipulating all of this. It is intentional. It's about controlling everything to their way. That's what we have to start getting in our heads. It is all intentional with them. So the partner's being mocked. For example, in a family setting, they might withhold affection or give the silent treatment when things don't go their way. Instead of directly addressing their needs, they'll express passive complaints, like saying things such as, I guess it doesn't matter what I think, to make others feel guilty. They might say things like, no one appreciates me, or I always give and give, but no one ever cares about me. And this creates a guilt trip that keeps others in positions of emotional submission. They'll hide behind sensitivity and insecurity. In relationships, they act as though they need constant reassurance or validation, but this is a manipulation tactic. They're seeking affirmation that their needs are more important than anyone else's, often making others walk on eggshells to avoid triggering their sensitivities. They use indirect attempts to gain attention. In social settings, a covert narcissist might downplay their achievements in a way that still gets others to praise them. They might say, I can't believe I managed to do this with so little help. Or I'm just so overwhelmed with everything I have to handle on my own. And I don't know if anyone has studied the Celestine prophecy teachings, but the poor me energy literally drains another. They are stealing your energy. You feel depleted around them. And like their malignant counterparts, covert narcissists are skilled at gaslighting. They might manipulate situations so their victims feel responsible for the narcissist's emotional turmoil or confusion. They may also deflect any criticism by making others feel like they're being too harsh or unfair to them, even when they were really not nice people. When confronted with their manipulative behaviors, a covert narcissist might respond by saying, "Why are you always picking on me?" or "I can't do anything right." And this forces the victim to backpedal and apologize, further reinforcing the narcissist's control over the narrative. Now, let's look at the malignant narcissist. A malignant narcissist is a severe and dangerous form of narcissism. This type of narcissism combines traits of both narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, which means the person exhibits extreme self-centeredness, a lack of empathy, and an inflated sense of superiority alongside more harmful behaviors like cruelty, aggression, manipulation, and a desire to completely dominate others. Malignant narcissists use tactics like gaslighting, emotional abuse, and exploitation to control and manipulate others. They can be highly vindictive and show little to no remorse to their actions. Their behaviors go beyond the conventional traits of grandiosity and entitlement. At the start of a relationship, they'll act as charming and these idealistic partners, but over time they'll switch to being controlling, emotionally distant, or overly critical. They wear down the other person's self-esteem and sense of reality in the long run. Malignant narcissists are more direct and destructive in their methods. Their goal is to dominate, control, and punish others to maintain their sense of superiority. It's "I'm the boss" energy. They don't shy away from aggressive tactics, which can be really damaging both emotionally and psychologically. They use blatant emotional abuse. Malignant narcissists use direct emotional manipulation and abusive behaviors to attack the other person's self-worth. And this could involve verbal abuse, humiliation, and outright cruelty designed to make the victim feel worthless or inferior. They can have people laugh at them. I read a comment once on YouTube where a man was saying that for Christmas, his girlfriend gave him a gift in the prettiest packaging. And when he opened it, it was a cup. And the inscription she had had done said, "World's weakest man." That is malignant. Examples of malignancy can be constantly calling the victim names like stupid or lazy, or saying things like "you'll never amount to anything." Malignant narcissists are experts at gaslighting, which is a form of psychological manipulation that makes the victim doubt their own perceptions, their memories, and their sanity. And this is deliberate. It's a deliberate attempt to distort reality and make the victim feel like they're imagining things or overreacting. They'll shame them. And that's funny to them. And it's also empowering. In using the silent treatment or emotional withdrawal, the intention is to punish the victim and make them feel abandoned or unworthy. It's mean. This is a way of asserting control because now the victim will constantly worry about their worthiness of attention or affection. They might not feel it directly towards the narcissist, but the childhood pain will be triggered of never being enough. That's the trauma. That's a wound being reopened. That is cruelty. Withholding affection, attention, or basic communication is a way to keep the victim anxious, confused, and dependent on the narcissist for validation. Blaming the victim. Malignant narcissists don't really take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they project their own flaws, their faults, and their mistakes onto the victim, often accusing them of things they haven't done or making them feel guilty for the narcissist's own bad behavior. If they're caught in a lie or abusive act, for example, they might accuse the victim of overreacting or say, "You made me do this," or it's your fault I did that. "It's your fault I cheated. You never want to have sex with me." No, you don't want to have sex with them. They're always yelling at you. They might even act super calm and in control and tell you that you need help with a serious, stern look on their face. And that's pretty malicious. Malignant narcissists are also more likely to threaten their victim or engage in intimidation to maintain control. And this might involve threats of abandonment, exposure, or even self-harm. Not self-harm, but physical harm, making the victim feel scared and helpless. For example, if you leave me, I'll ruin your life, or making threats that cause the victim to feel trapped and unable to escape. During divorce, the malignant narcissist will weaponize the legal system or use children as pawns to maintain control. Emphasis on power dynamics, focusing on the need to win at all costs, even if it means damaging the former partner or the lives of their children. They'll try to ruin the reputation of the ex-partner by making false accusations, controlling the narrative, or using smear campaigns. Now, the covert also uses smear campaigns, and it'll involve family members and friends, but the malignant will take it to a whole new level. Some will falsely accuse their partners of child abuse, sexual abuse. When it comes to parenting under malignant narcissism, the narcissist will parent with the goal of undermining the other parent's authority and autonomy. And this impacts the children, dividing them between parents, making them feel torn or confused. They intentionally create chaos in the household, using children as pawns to get back at the other parent. They gradually erode the other parent's authority and self-worth in front of children and extended family. When it comes to a malignant narcissist, the mindset is to ultimately punish if the partner leaves. It's, I will take everything from you. And sadly for some, their life. So in conclusion, when it comes to the malignant narcissist, these types are definitely more likely to engage in destructive, harmful, and violent behavior compared to other narcissistic types. So now let's take a look at the key traits of a covert malignant narcissist. You have victimhood with malintent. They play the victim, but do so with a hidden agenda for manipulation and power. For example, let's say that they wanted to borrow money from you, and you say no for whatever reason. And that makes them feel not important enough. That makes them feel devalued. So rather than walking around like the regular covert will do, saying things like, I matter to no one, feeling sorry for themselves, and saying things like, no one cares, whatever statements that they use to make you feel guilty, they'll put that on the back burner and do something to the partner's vehicle to ensure that they miss an important meeting. They are covertly vengeful. It is passive aggressive aggression. They don't directly confront or dominate, but they use subtle manipulative tactics to undermine others. And people can undermine others in a variety of ways, often subtly, making it difficult for the target to pinpoint exactly what's happening. Undermining is it's a form of psychological manipulation or emotional abuse that's designed to erode someone's confidence, their self-esteem, or sense of reality. It often happens over time and can involve a range of behaviors, from subtle put-downs to more overt control tactics. So here are common ways people might undermine others. Offering critical feedback or making negative comments, even when they're not necessary, can slowly erode someone's self-esteem. The criticism may seem constructive on the surface, but it's meant to diminish the person's confidence. For example, saying things like, you could have done this better, or why don't you ever do anything right, or you'll never be as good as so-and-so. And then there's the backhanded compliments. For example, I'm surprised you managed to do this so well, or I didn't expect you to understand that. Anything to make them feel bad. They'll use triangulation and lots of smear campaigns that might harm you in your friendships, your family, or your coworkers. For example, they might tell people that you're a drug addict when you absolutely are not, or you're an alcoholic and you don't even drink. Or they'll manage to get you fired from your job. The covert malignant will be extremely covert in their vengeance, but make no mistake, they will cause vengeance, including fighting for custody of the children in pure vengeance, or take you to the cleaners in a divorce settlement. They stop at nothing. They are not only dangerous emotionally and mentally, but they are dangerous in your physical life. They will stop at nothing. They love lawyers. They love suing. They love court. They love turning your life upside down. That's the point. It's a game to them, and winning is the fuel. So if you are with a covert malignant, I highly recommend that you do what it takes to heal. And if you're planning on leaving, I highly recommend that you keep quiet about it until you have crossed all the I's and all the T's. So I will leave it at that. And I wish you all the luck in the world. And if anyone here has any experiences that they would like to share, please don't hesitate to comment, because you never know how your comment might help someone that's going through the same exact experience as you are. Namaste, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.